What it do, Dream Team? It's your boy D Neal back with another reaction video, guys. Here we are with 6 things we didn't know about Australia till we moved. Before we dive in, make sure you subscribe to the channel, ring notification bell, get a video a thumbs up so it gets suggested. You guys got a favorite video suggestion, you can subscribe to Patreon or drop it in the comment section. What we got? Australia.
You can do so much research trying to find out what it's like living in another country, but at the end of the day, how will you really know what it's going to be like? That's right, you need some random pommygit telling you 6 things we didn't know about Australia until we moved. G'day guys, my name's Ross and I moved with my family to Australia during a global pandemic. The first thing we didn't know is you need to beware of the sun. When have you ever been scared of the sun? That innocuous ball of burning gas in the sky that breathes light and life into our otherwise desolate and cold planet. The sun in Australia is a completely different sun. It's the sun on steroids. If the sun had a sibling that just wanted to watch the world burn, then that sun would be the Australian sun. Summer temperatures are absolutely scorching and can be in excess of 40 degrees centigrade. They're even expected to get more than 50 degrees by 2040.
50 my God! That's 122 Fahrenheit, 50 Celsius. That's sick.
Cue climate change. The UK thinks they've had it bad recently, while the rest of Australia just sits there rolling its eyes. Heat waves in Australia cause tarmac roads to melt and gum trees to spontaneously combust into flames. Okay, I'm not actually sure whether that actually happens. However, it's not just the heat in Australia that is dangerous. Everyone says that it's because the ozone layer in Australia is drastically thin, but I thought they fixed that. Now, I'm not an ozone scientist, but I think it's probably got more to do with the fact that the Earth's orbit is elliptical, and it just so happens that during the Australian summer, that elliptical thingy is closest to the sun at that point. Now, I'm not a mathematician, but closer normally means worse when it comes to fire.
That makes a lot of sense. Definitely understandable.
Makes the Australian sun pretty powerful. In Australia, we have the slip, slop, slap campaign, which also now encompasses seek and slide. Sounds like someone's weird bedroom habits, to be honest. If you want to stay safe in Australia, then you need to slip on a shirt, slap on some sunscreen, and something to a hat. Slap on a hat? Just put it on. When in fact, it should just be stay. Stay out of the sun or you're going to fry. The next thing we didn't know about Australia is that jaywalking is a crime. If I could just have it on its own, that I knew what jaywalking was. And apparently it's illegal.
You didn't know?
Why did the chicken cross the road? Well, to be honest, that isn't the question. The question is, where did the chicken cross? You just can't cross the road wherever you feel like it. In Australia, the penalty for crossing wherever you want is about an $80 fine, if you get caught. Every year in New South Wales alone, more than 3,000 people on average are caught and fined for jaywalking.
Dang.
Billie Eilish even made a song trying to showcase this problem when she sampled the crossing sound in one of her songs. Okay, no she didn't, but she just liked the sound because it's really funky. So funky.
Yes.
The rules are pretty simple. You must use a designated crossing point, like a pelican crossing or a zebra crossing. Is the zebra one the one with the stripy bits? Makes sense, I guess. If you can't see one, then you have to walk for miles upon miles. Otherwise, the police will jump out on you and arrest you. They're not gonna.
I feel like it's the same way in America. Jaywalking is a crime if you get caught. You know what I'm saying? Before you jaywalk, you gotta look both ways. Do a double take. Look both ways again. No cops. Clear road. No cars coming. Gotta do what you gotta do to get to where you want to go the fastest possible. That's just the way I live my life, guys. Live on the edge.
Miles. Otherwise, the police will jump out on you and arrest you. They're not gonna do that, are they? Do you actually even know anyone who's been fined? I wouldn't want to be the first person that I know.
I don't.
So for now, I'll just be a super conformist and use the crossing. Australia's super laid-back reputation doesn't really apply to crossing the road. It's probably one of the reasons why so many Aussies get put off every year and insist on driving massive 4x4s around all the time. The third thing we learned about Australia is that there's more to life than just cities. Almost 90% of Australians live in cities. Absolutely massive ones. I'm even one of these people. So it would make sense that Australian cities get most of the attention. If you were asked to think of different places on Australia, what would be your first suggestions? There are some really amazing places in Australia as soon as you get out of the major cities. Whilst we can all enjoy the multicultural nature that a heavily urbanised environment can provide, if you want to see the real Australia, then you're going to want to go off the beaten track. I mean, not too far, because, spiders and snakes on there. Australia can be a dangerous place after all. But the more you venture, the more you get addicted to this beautiful landscape and enchanting people. You may come here for one of the famous cultural icons, but you'll stay for the wonder of nature. Or if you're on a working holiday visa, you'll stay for the 88 days of regional work. Go and have an adventure, and then tell us all about it. No one wants to hear about how you queued up just so that you could take that perfect selfie outside the opera house. If you think about living over here on a working holiday,
You gotta take the opera house selfie though. I feel like you go to Australia, you gotta get that selfie in there. That's just how I feel.
a visa to discover yourself, or any visa for that matter, then you're going to want to speak to our friends at True Blue Migration Services. True Blue Migration Services are one of Australia's oldest and most trusted group of MARA registered agents. When we first looked at moving to Australia, the thing that put us off the most was the process of searching for the correct visa to move over here, as well as all of the horror stories about bogus agents taking your money and then not giving you a visa. Moving over to the other side of the world is hard enough. So why not let True Blue Migration Services tell you for free what your best options are for moving to the land of getting fined for not using a designated crossing. Speak to True Blue Migration Services for your free, no obligation visa assessments. Tell them who sent you. It really helps the channel out and allows us to keep making more of these videos helping you move to Australia. Details are in the description below. Now with one less thing to worry about, I'll give you another. Don't worry about the wildlife. When you think of Australia, what native animal haunts your dreams? According to most people who have never been to Australia, it's full of animals that have nothing better to do than to see you dead. The old-fashioned stereotype of Oz seems like it's never going to go away with these Australia-phobic scaremongers. Mongerers? However, your time would probably be better spent worrying about other things like skin cancer or spontaneously combusting gum trees.
Yeah, those bushfires are absolutely insane. And skin cancer, but yeah, every Australian always says you don't really have to worry about the wildlife there. You don't have to worry about the dangerous, poisonous, killer animals. You're not really around them ever, unless you go into their habitat or territory. But don't sweat it.
Definitely dangerous creatures across the country, but the statistics kind of prove how safe the country is. Firstly, there are only 2 species of deadly spider in Australia, and there's an anti-venom for that. The last recorded death from a spider bite was in 1979.
Oh my
Stingrays
God.
have only ever killed one famous person on Australia, and one unfortunate other person.
They killed the freaking goat. R.I.P. to legend Steve Irwin.
The country also only averages 1 fatal unprovoked shark attack each year, on average, and only 2 fatal snake bites. So do you know what that tells me? Don't provoke sharks and don't provoke snakes. Pretty simple rules to live your life by. If you're still concerned about all of these things, then just use your common sense when you're out. Works for most people. But the one animal I didn't know about until I moved to Australia was the magpie. For about 6 to 8 weeks between July and November, the magpies are out to get you. Hang on a minute, is that now? Okay, magpies out to get you is a bit of a joke, but magpie swooping isn't. During the breeding or birthing season, basically when they've got little chicks, magpies in Australia turn into the bird equivalent of the esche. Actually, I think I'd probably be more worried about the bird. There's actually a website called Magpie Alert where you can see all of the live locations where magpie swooping is going on. Male magpies will swoop anything between 50 and 100 metres from their nest. The little psychos will even swoop harder if you try to run. The sadistic little bastards. The best advice is to basically not go near the aerial dive bombers, or for cyclists to look like plonkers and attach little cable ties to their helmet. It doesn't actually stop them from swooping you, it just means they go for the cable ties instead, and not your eyes. If you think you can fight the magpies, you haven't got a chance. Magpies are a protected species in Australia for the last 30 years. Magpies 1, humans 0. And the last thing we didn't know about Australia until we moved, but we've come to love so much, is the beautiful language. English might be the official language of Australia, but when you hear them talking, they might as well be saying something else. The basic rule is to chop off the second half of any word and add an O or a Y. It actually works pretty well. Arvo, avo, ambo. Fiery, mozzie, chippy, not to be confused with chips and hot chips. If you love learning new languages, then Australian might be the next one for you. There are also some really weird words that I thought I'd never use, but now I actually love using them. Flip-flops are called thongs. I basically only like saying that to foreigners. If you want to go swimming, you might like to use a cossie or your togs, unless you like to swim naked. You need to fill your car at the servo. If you want to actually be able to drive it, you need a rego. And if you're still worried about moving to Australia, then don't be. Use my favourite Aussie slang, she'll be right. Gets you through anything. If you're still wanting to move, then speak to our friends at True Blue Migration Services. Details down in the description below. And watch this video to see if your profession is in demand when you move here. See you later.
Oh, that was a good video. I like him. I really like him. That's 6 things. If you think about moving to Australia, that if you didn't know, now you know. That's all we got. You guys got a favorite video suggestion? You can subscribe to Patreon and drop it in the comment section. Subscribe to the channel, ring notification bell, give the video a thumbs up so it gets suggested. It's your boy Neal. Out.